Hi everyone, I'm John C. Morley, the host of the JMOR Tech Talk Show and Inspirations for Your Life. Well, hey guys, it is John C. Morley here, serial entrepreneur. It is great to be with you on another fantastic Friday on, yes, the JMOR Tech Talk Show. I hope you guys have had an amazing week, and of course, we have a great show to share with you tonight. So, the topic of the show, which I think is something important to share with you before we, get this all kicked off. And so the topic tonight is a really good one, and that is tech turbulence, today's shocks, scams, and game changers unveiled. Series 4, show number 40. Can you believe, guys, in just a few months, we are actually going to be finished with Season 4 and on to Season 5? I can't believe that already. I mean, it's hard to believe that we've been on the air that long. But it's amazing. I know that a lot of people, see technology challenges as a nuisance. But, if we can understand why something's not working, we not only can help ourselves with any frustration, but we can help others too, and of course, benefit society and many around us. All right, guys, if you are thirsty, feel free to go get yourself some RO water, a snack, fruit, chocolate, another beverage, whatever. Maybe some ice cream. And don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, to check out BelieveMeAchieve.com right after the show. It's available 24 hours a day, where you can catch long-form content, short-form content, articles, reels, and much more. So definitely check that out at BelieveMeAchieve.com. Right after the show is over, because you're not going to want to miss today's show. And I do want to take this opportunity to thank everyone for joining me today, whether this is your first time or, well, whether you're coming back many, many times. So I think it's important to understand the facts. And so let's get right into them. So let's step inside the minds of people in technology everywhere. I'm John C. Morley. I'm a serial entrepreneur, engineer, a video producer, marketing specialist, keynote speaker, podcast host, podcast coach, a graduate student, and a passionate lifelong learner. And it is my privilege and pleasure to be with you here today on the JMOR Tech Talk Show. And our episodes drop to podcasts usually in less than 24 hours. So don't miss the stories shaping America and the world of technology. You can just visit BelieveMeAchieve.com right after the show. So, ladies and gentlemen, our first point is device prices are set to soar. That's right. Device costs about to spike as President Trump's administration rolls out new tariffs suddenly, targeting foreign electronics based on the number of microchips inside. So this aggressive move is meant to bring, well, for lack of a better term, manufacturing back to the United States. But experts are warning it could push inflation even higher for everyday tech. Is this the dawn of a new era for American innovation? Or will your next phone, laptop, or TV burn a hole in your wallet? So we were told that the iPhone was going to cost, around $3,000. Luckily, Apple kept that price down. And they did that by, let's just say they made a very nice size contribution to Mr. Donald Trump's campaign. And, he miraculously did not invoke any tariffs. So on the Apple devices. So, but I don't know if that's going to continue. And so over 8,000 kids, ladies and gentlemen, profiles were leaked in a London nursery cyber attack. This is really a crime. It's a shocking cyber attack that we've seen now. Thousands of children's personal data, including names, addresses, and photos, stolen from London nurseries. Now, I'm not talking about the nurseries that grow flowers. I'm talking about the ones that have kids there. With the Radiant gang threatening to leak even more sensitive information, both families and schools are under a little bit of pressure to step up the digital defenses. And I've always said, guys, it's not a question of if you're going to get attacked, but when, if you're not properly protected. I think that is the most important thing that I want to share with you. If you're not properly protected, you will get attacked at some point in time. And so, ladies and gentlemen, when hackers target the youngest and most vulnerable, the need for better privacy protection is clearer than ever before. You know, not only are they going after people that are younger and, of course, more vulnerable, but they're hoping to prey on them to possibly, let's say, learn about their family's empire and whether it's something they want to tackle and possibly steal or corrupt. And ladies and gentlemen, EA, yes, EA Sports could go private recently in a ruling that they made in a historic $50 billion gaming deal. This is pretty amazing. Electronic Arts, EA Sports, the powerhouse behind global gaming hits, may, ladies and gentlemen, right now be taken, private for an eye-popping $50 billion. This would be the biggest deal in gaming history and promises sweeping changes to fan favorite franchises like Battlefield and FC. As private investors move in, how will the games and the way you play them change in the future? I think that's something that we definitely have to be mindful of. But I think not only from a feature perspective, but more from a security and a safety perspective, this is something we definitely have to understand. And, you know, if we don't make the effort to understand this, you know what's going to happen? Well, we're going to contribute to more of that, let's say, technical mumbo-jumbo attack by not being aware of things. We possibly could spread that information or those programs or bad actors, let's say, plan to combat the world so they could steal things and make money off of it. And ladies and gentlemen, Google was recently hit with a landmark European Union fine. Everybody said that they were not going after Google. Well, let's think again. Google is bracing for a massive penalty under the new Digital Markets Act as the European Union cracks down on tech giants privileging their own services. So you might be saying to me, hey, John, and this is a very good question, you know, what is the Digital Markets Service Act? And so the Digital Market Service Act is a European Union law designed to regulate large gatekeeper digital platforms, such as major search engines, social media networks, and operating systems to foster fair competition and innovation in digital markets. The DMA establishes a list of do's and don'ts for these gatekeepers, requiring them to allow users more choices, give explicit consent for data tracking, for advertising, make messaging services interoperable, avoid self-preferencing their own services, and provide better access to data for business users. So the DMA, basically, the DMA, the Digital Markets Act, aims to curb the market's power of big technology companies by setting out obligations and prohibitions for keeping their gatekeeping status, let's say, in control. It creates a level playing field for smaller businesses and promotes innovation and consumer welfare within the European Union. We think about, keeping things fair. When you play golf, you can establish a handicap. So in order to play golf, if you play against somebody who's very good, well, you can use the handicap and, you can easily come close to them because of the handicap. So the handicap helps you play even if you're not the same level as they are. So key requirements for gatekeepers right now with the DMA, the Digital Markets Act. User choices. Gatekeepers must offer more choices to users, such as allowing users to easily uninstall, pre-install software, and choose alternative apps or services without having to jump a lot of fences and ropes. Data consent. Users must provide explicit consent for their data to be tracked and cross-used by gatekeepers for advertising purposes. Interoperability. Basic functionalities of messaging services like messaging and file sharing must be interoperable, allowing users of different platforms to communicate. The fair access for businesses. Gatekeepers must provide access to their services and data on fair, reasonable, and non-discriminatory terms for business users. No self-preferencing. Gatekeepers are prohibited from favoring their own services or products over those of competitors on their platforms. Data portability. The gatekeepers must provide users with access to data they have provided or generated through their use of gatekeepers' services. So you can see this is kind of getting a little bit sticky. This is definitely not an easy thing that is happening. And I think the most important thing when we think about these things is that they're being set up in a way so you can be protected. Because like I said, a lot of these people are really out for the kill, if you would. And so I think that makes some sense. And hopefully you'll be safe with that too. But a lot of times people are trying to avoid this, and then they're getting stuck. Like, the way you can't cancel subscription for a long time, right? I think if you can understand what technology is doing, even if you don't agree with it, you can at least make the choice of what you should do and what you should not do. All right, so this landmark I was talking about in Google has this fine raising the stakes for big tech accountability. And as I said, it could be a turning point as governments try to balance innovation with fair competition. Is this finally the year regulators tip the scales? It might be. And a little topic that was not exactly planned, the government official shutdown. So that's kind of really big in the news right now. People are still want to understand, like, why did it happen? So basically, the Senate failed to pass the Republican and Democratic short-term spending bills for a third time. The Senate Majority Leader John Thune, RSD, previously said if the measures are blocked again, the Senate will adjourn until Monday, extending the government shutdown into a sixth day. Local funding. The Trump administration announced that it's putting $2.1 billion in funding for Chicago infrastructure projects that are on hold. The latest move to target Democratic-run cities during the government shutdown. Trump is also announcing, which he did not too long ago, that the administration was reversing cuts to law enforcement funding that would have affected counterterrorism operations in New York following the backlash from New York City's police department and Democratic government Kathy Hochul. And so no job report. The Bureau of Labor Statistics will not be releasing a jobs report as it usually does on the first Friday of every month because of, well, the government shutdown. So, what does all this mean? And I think the question is, how does something like this happen? Like I said, when the government does not pass the appropriate bills, then they go ahead and they shut down. So this is an interesting point that came up from the Social Security Administration. that they wanted everyone to know that during the federal government shutdown, payments to all people who currently receive the Social Security benefits and supplemental Social Security will continue with no change in the payment dates. Well, that's nice. Your clients will still receive their payments on time. To help manage their benefits and access important services, please note that they can go online to the My Social Security account at the www.ssa.gov, of course, /my account. And, local offices will remain open to the public, but will provide reduced services. During this time, your clients can still apply for benefits, request an appeal, change their address or direct deposit information, report a death, verify or change their citizenship status, replace a lost or missing Social Security payment, obtain a critical payment, change a representative's payee, and make a change in their living arrangement or income SSI recipients only now. Obtain a new or replacement Social Security card. So there are some things happening. So we were saying, John, so what is closed with the government shutdown? Because I think that's a little bit of a confusion. I thought, and I guess I was wrong, that the mail would be stopped because isn't the post office a government agency? Well, they are and they're not. They're kind of quasi, as I was told. So they don't get any funding from the United States government. They get money from their products and services that they basically run. Stamps, different types of delivery services, etc. So what does it affect? National parks. So facilities like visitor centers, campgrounds, and restrooms are closed with reduced staff for maintenance and law enforcement. In some cases, open-air parks and trails may remain accessible, but without any supervision. The Smithsonian Museums and National Zoo, all Smithsonian Museums and the National Zoo are closed to the public. Taxpayer services. While the IRS remains partially staffed for the start of the fiscal year, services like taxpayer assistance, hotlines, and help desk are severely limited. Research programs, government-funded research such as the National Institute of Health, NIH, and Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, will be significantly disrupted. Loan grant processing centers, applications for new federal business loans, SBA and housing loans, FHA and USDA are stopped, and some housing voucher programs are at risk in a prolonged shutdown. Government facilities, public tours of facilities like the White House, U.S. Capitol building, and the FBI building are suspended during this time. Food safety, the FDA will pause routine inspections of domestic food production facilities through inspections of imported food situations, but they will continue to monitor those that are being, let's say, shipped in from outside the country. It's good they're doing that. So services continuing with reduced capacity, Social Security, Veterans Affairs, federal courts, services that generally remain open. You'll be happy to know the United States Postal Service is open. It's a self-funded entity, as I mentioned. The USPS is not affected by the government shutdown. And mail delivery, yes, will continue. So I think those are some handy things to understand. And so very, very interesting there. Military and law enforcement, active duty military personnel, law enforcement agents, example, the FBI, the DEA, and border control agents will continue working without pay until the shutdown ends. Air traffic control. Air traffic controllers and TSA agents are deemed essential and will work without pay, but the 2018-2019 shutdown demonstrated that staffing shortages can lead to other delays that we were not expecting. Benefit payments. Payments for programs like Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid continue because they are funded by mandatory spending, not an annual appropriation. So if we want to understand, so what is the government shutdown, in summary? Because I think this gets a little bit let's say confusing for a lot of people. Is, when everybody wants to know this question. So when will the government shutdown end? That's a very good question. We don't have an answer. They tried to negotiate, but it didn't go anywhere. So they said that if the vote has a problem again, they will just basically leave and they will not re-vote again until Monday. So basically they have to kind of come to a consensus So people are talking about how the government shutdown could end. So the Democrats could quickly break ranks. Senate Democrats shut down a Republican spending bill that would have kept the government operating until November, but that vote may have contained the seeds of their defeat. While 44 Democrats and Republican iconolists, Rand Paul voted no, 2 Democrats and 1 Democrat allied independent sided with the Republican majority. Independent Angus King of Maine is always a bit of a wild card, so it's not sure what's happening there. So the question is, what's going to happen? Republicans making concessions. The shutdown is stretching on both sides. And the question is, does Congress care if there is a shutdown? I mean, do they really care? I don't know the answer to that. Whether Congress cares about a government shutdown is complex, and it depends heavily on political, nomenclature and public perception. Well, members of Congress continue to be paid and are insulated from the most severe direct impacts. They are deeply affected by the public backlash, calls, things like that. Reasons why Congress may care. There's a public backlash. A government shutdown is often seen as a sign of congressional dysfunction, damaging the public perception of the entire institution. Political damage, cost to taxpayers. Past shutdowns have cost taxpayers billions of dollars and caused delays in essential services. Damage to the party leverage. Impact on federal workers. A shutdown halts pay for hundreds of thousands of federal employees, including essential workers like TSA officers and military. So the question is, when we are, in a shutdown, the president can just fire people. This is the thing, is that it can't legally fire federal employees at will during government shutdown, but while a president can dismiss political appointees, the vast majority of federal workforces are career civil service employees protected by law from arbitrary dismissal. So I want to get that, cleared up, because that's always a big confusion for some people. A government shutdown does not provide any new legal authority for mass layoffs. And so there's things like civil service protections. There's the RIF, reduced in force. They're governed by the extensive regulations that require a valid legal justification. There is the 60-day notice period. RIF regulations requires a minimum of 60-day notice period for affected employees. And furloughs are being put in place, not firings. During a shutdown, non-essential employees are typically furloughed. They're placed on a temporary unpaid leave, except the essential employees that need to work and that are vital for life safety. Union lawsuits, federal unions, including the American Federation of Government Employees, AFGE, and the American Federation of State, County and Municipal Employees, AFSCME, have already filed lawsuits to block the Trump administration's efforts to issue mass layoff notices during a shutdown. So they're a little concerned. The back pay, the law guarantees back pay for both furloughed and essential federal employees once the government is reopened. This right would likely be eliminated for anyone who is permanently fired. Legal conflict. The administration has faced internal warnings and external legal challenges over its plans for mass firings. The Office of Management and Budget has defended its position by citing the president's Constitution authority, but critics argue the move is an illegal power grab. The big question is, and everybody wants to know this, when will the government reopen? Well, don't know. I mean, if they do this again, it's going to cause more delays, right? More problems. The bill to reopen the government has failed. Though the final votes are still in progress, currently 54-41 today on Friday, with 5 that took some time to still cast their votes out. We'll have to see what happens, and the real pushback is going to be what happens when the government gets back open again, right? Because one thing to fund a bill, right? But we have to make sure we're doing it the right way. So I think a lot of people right now are concerned because they don't know what this means for them, right? People say there's no end in sight. They're saying it could extend into the next week. So I think the longer we get into a shutdown, the more serious it is to actually come up with, well, a plan to reopen. And Fetterman says, and I'm not going to quote what he says, but he says no, and he uses the S word. He's worried about the White House firing federal workers during the shutdown. And so Senator John Fetterman told reporters he's worried about permanent damage that the White House budget chief Russ Vought could do to the federal government as part of the administration's response to the shutdown, which has included layoff threats. That's why he said, I wasn't going to shut our government down. Fetterman said, when asked about the concerns about Vaught's threats of the mass firing, quote, you want to give him, a lot of free time to figure out other ways to do these things. This is why part of the reasons why I would never shut it down, Fetterman said, close quote. And the Pennsylvania Democratic Department has broken with much of the rest of the party in voting in support of the GOP proposal to reopen the government. Again, the Senate recently was voting on the proposal to fund the government. The senators voting on the short-term proposal. It needs 60 votes to advance, meaning Republicans would need Democrats to sign on as well, since there are not enough Republicans to complete the bill on their own. And so, as I said, the Senate did fail to advance the Democratic stopgap funding bill once again this past afternoon in a 46-52 vote. A bill to reopen the government needs 60 votes to advance. So they're basically off on a hiatus till next week. But this could take a very long time, guys. This might not be ending like right away, but I just wanted to share that with you. Also, the air traffic controllers, they're not getting paid right now. They will when everything ends, but just a lot of chaos, if you will. And United Airlines gets FAA approval for Starlink Wi-Fi soon. So you heard the phrase, you've got mail. Well, you got Wi-Fi. Actually, your plane's got Wi-Fi. So soon, flying will mean streaming and gaming at 30,000 feet, thanks to United Airlines' FAA-approved partnership with Starlink. For the first time, travelers on select jets will enjoy high-speed satellite internet above the clouds. Now, this major upgrade could redefine business trips, vacations, and your expectations of what it means to be connected in the air. The question everyone is asking is, how much will it cost to use the new United Wi-Fi? And, that's a very, very good question. So United Airlines offers free Wi-Fi powered by Starlink for all United Mileage Plus members on aircraft equipped with the system. So there's no cost to join the Mileage Plus program, and passengers can use the free service with their own devices and the in-flight portal. So I think that's great that they're doing that, because right now they were just getting hammered so much. If you do not have that program, well, you can expect to probably pay about $8 more. So starting at about $74.50 domestic and $149.50 international per traveler per direction. So they are going to kind of increase the price a little bit. So that's going to happen, and but they got to pay for this service. So I think it's a great thing what they're doing. I think a lot of people will use it, and I think more planes will eventually do this. So again, your plane has now got real Wi-Fi. And in case you guys did not remember, I just want to bring back an old nostalgic moment. AOL, in case you didn't catch my show a while back, AOL has discontinued dial-up. Yes. It's like losing an old friend. They actually announced this, and I mentioned it on our show. This was in August, AOL ditching dial-up service, a relic of the internet in the 90s and the early 2000s. The online service provider ended their service on September 30th. So if you didn't watch my show then and you were concerned, well, now you know that it's actually the truth. The company, also known as the phrase we all know, "You've got mail," greeting and the CD trial disc, so many CDs, made the announcement on its website that that's not happening anymore. AOL routinely evaluates its products and services and has decided to discontinue dial-up. So the question you might be asking is, who owns AOL? Now, I don't know if I'm going to surprise you by this. So AOL is an American web portal and online service provider based in New York City and a brand marketed by Yahoo Inc. The service traces its history to an online service known as PlayNet and licensed its software to Quantum Link, which went online in November 1985. So you might be asking the question, who owns Yahoo? And if you want to know who owns Yahoo, it's operated by the namesake company, Apollo Global Management. And 10% of it, this is the misconception, 10% of it is owned by Verizon. So Verizon doesn't own the whole company. I think a lot of times when we get stories, people say, "Oh, gee, this is the way it's going to be," but then they don't really understand the truth. They hear something from one person, and so I wanted to give you the truth about that. And so people are asking, did Yahoo get bought by Microsoft? So the dot-com bubble bursted, as you know, a while back, and it reached an all-time low of $8.11 in 2001. Yahoo formally rejected an acquisition bid from Microsoft Corporation in 2008. They did not accept that. So Apollo funds complete acquisition of Yahoo September 1st, 2021. But I think the real reason that they dropped it, the reason is cost. The reason that AOL dropped dial-up, it's costs. Because, it was costing them more money to maintain this. Cost played a role in the broader decline of dial-up internet, and the primary reason AOL dropped the service was, they said, the dwindling customer base and the widespread adoption of faster, more modern broadband technology. So you might have heard something on AOL called Bring Your Own Internet, BYOE is what it was called. So the question is, how much is AOL today? So the live AOL American price is 0.01007 with a current market cap of 10.07 million, and the price is currently down by 0.05% in the last 24 hours, and the 24-hour trading volume is just over 720,000. So how much is AOL today to purchase the service? And so it changed, right? They had it really low, but AOL's service plans have gone up quite a bit. AOL still has, I believe they still offer, they still do it. AOL has a free plan, and so offers a free plan, which includes email, web-based access to AOL, features like AOL search and video. You can get a free AOL email account, other services by signing up for one or by switching from a paid plan to a free option. So you also don't get support, and you have to do everything, and hopefully you've had everything set up correctly. So they have something called the AOL Advantage Plan. And so, the thing is, they really made it very complicated. So AOL plans right now offers a range of paid plans, including a free plan for accessing AOL Mail, and the web and paid products like AOL Desktop Gold, which costs around $6.99 a month for an ad-free experience, and browser features and premium tech support assist, which starts approximately at $12.99 a month. So again, you might think, John, that's not a lot, but you see, they're banking on the number of users they have, right? So the question right now, this is a good question. How many users paid does AOL have? How many do you think they have? So right now, and this is just an approximate, okay? AOL has approximately in paid users 1.5 million. And then we can multiply that times 6.99. Plus, you got tax on top of that. So you're easily over 10 million, easily. I think a lot of people don't realize this. It's what we call it funny money. 1.5 million times 6.99. And so, you know, at 10,485,000, that's what they take in. And that's without including the advertising, right? If we look at how much they take in ad revenue, well, that's a whole different ballgame. And ladies and gentlemen, the luxury retailer Harrods exposes customer names and contacts in a recent cyber breach. The cyber crime has hit the luxury sector as Harrods admits the customer details were exposed through a third-party provider. While passwords and payment info they claim are safe, the breach is a wake-up call about data security. No brand, no matter how exclusive, how big, or how small, is immune to modern threats. Shoppers everywhere, guys, need to ask this one question. Is privacy the new luxury? Is it? And ladies and gentlemen, drones force Denmark's airports to close recently. The aerial security is front and center. And as the mystery drones fly over Denmark's military bases, causing a little bit of stir, airports shut down, and it raises suspicions of Russian involvement. In response, authorities are considering stronger defense measures, including shooting down laws. The skies above Europe are changing. And can new rules keep up with the new threats? I don't know, guys. We're going to have to see what's happening. But I know one thing, guys. We're definitely going to have to tighten our belts on how we secure public places. And we know that tragic incident that happened several weeks ago. We have to understand that the world has changed. Since 9/11, the world has changed. It's never going to be the same. I'm not telling you to live with fear every day, but I am telling you to be vigilant and to watch your surroundings, right? And ladies and gentlemen, 911 lines went down across Mississippi and Louisiana after a fiber cable cut. A single fiber cut left millions in the southern United States without access to emergency services. And it highlights the astonishing fragility of today's digital infrastructure. During the outage, residents had to find alternative ways to contact help, proving how much we rely on technology and how quickly it can fail. So, nobody wants to think about technology failing. Let's face that, right? But what they realize is that we've got to make sure that we're vigilant, that we know what we're doing, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you know this, but only roughly 8 out of 47 Instagram safety features for teens actually work. Now, Meta claims it protects young users, but testing shows more than 80% of its safety systems for teens are, unfortunately, flawed. Or, let's say they're broken. With features that are easily circumvented by bad actors, teens, they're remaining exposed to everything from self-harm, content to unwanted adult interactions, and real-world safety is far behind tech company promises. Vigilance is needed now, folks, not later. Russia actively tracks German military satellites. The space race just got serious as Russia targets German military satellites, prompting Germany to invest £35 million in defense over the next 5 years. That would be technologies like satellite jamming, surveillance, and safe warfare are now key concerns in Europe, and they never were before, but now they're important, showing them that modern defense doesn't end at Earth's surface. And take me out to the ball game. Well, MLB, the Major League Baseball Association, introduces, yes, robot umpires with team challenges and instant replay tech. Get ready, everyone, for a new era in baseballs as robot umps and high-speed cameras ensure more accurate calls than ever. Teams can challenge human rulings with instant feedback appearing on scoreboards for maximum transparency. The fusion of human and machines could turn every game into a fairer, more exciting contest. But will that be the way the teams want to push it? Because if they push it a certain way and they're wrong and the call is caught outside of their favor, not going to like this very much. Now, everyone, did you know you can enroll for TSA, the Transportation and Security Administration? You can enroll in the TSA, they call it the pre-check, as well as just enroll in Clear. At where? Well, not a restaurant, but close, Staples. They claim that you can skip the long airport lines by enrolling in TSA pre-check at your local Staples store. So they claim it's with a simple, fast process. Families and businesses that fly can save precious time, those valuable minutes, even up to a half hour on their next trip. For frequent flyers, this is the travel hack everyone's talking about. But I think there's some fears with this, right? Safety, right? So the question is there a downside to TSA pre-check? And of course, everyone's going to tell you, no, there's no downside. But TSA is now with this storing your info. And I think that's a big concern for so many people today, that they're doing it this way. And I get why they're doing it. So TSA PreCheck collects both biological data like your name, your address, and physical description, and, as I said, biometric data such as the fingerprints and a photo when applying for the program. This information is used to conduct background checks and is shared with the FBI for screening. However, they claim that the TSA or the Department of Homeland Security gains unrestricted, warrantless, and indefinite access to all of an applicant's personal information, including health records, social media, and court history, are not substantiated by the official policy. To me, I think you're giving away your freedom. Data collected for TSA PreCheck is covered by federal privacy policies. Yeah, let's see what that's really about. And there are specific data retention rules. If an applicant opts out or leaves the program, most personal information is deleted after a set period, often 1 year, and not kept indefinitely. They said most. They didn't say everything. The main exceptions are fingerprints, which may be stored in the FBI's systems for identity verification and security purposes. Additionally, TSA says it does not use publicly available data like social media for threat evaluations, and any retention or sharing of information is governed by the Privacy Act, which was put into effect in 1974. So I use Clear, but Clear does not share data with the government. So you can have Clear, which does help you get past the line, but TSA PreCheck allows you to have some more benefits. So what are they? And that's a good question. So what are the benefits from going from, let's say, Clear to TSA PreCheck? So there are some benefits. I told you some of the problems, right? So going from Clear allows you to keep your shoes, belts, and light jackets on, and leave laptops and 311 liquids in your bag during the security screening, as well as potentially accessing shorter lines for the screening itself. While Clear uses biometrics to verify your identity and quickly move you to the front of the security line, TSA PreCheck expedites the screening process through the metal detector and bag screening. The combination of both services offer the fastest path through the airport's screening systems by streamlining both the identity check and the physical screening process. But again, I still have a problem, and I don't trust how they keep our information and if it really is that secure. Long story short, there was a government agency that wanted me to respond to something, but I couldn't do that until I went and verified my steps. Well, they use a company, I think it was ID Me, if I'm not mistaken. And so the problem with this company is when they came back, my own security systems actually flagged them as a potential threat. Because I flagged them, that actually violated the process. And then I gave up, and finally they got back in a few days, but it was just run so poorly. Very, very poorly. And ladies and gentlemen, Meta aims to license powerful AI as the brain of, well, the future of humanoid robots. Meta's going all in on this one, powering the future of robotics, aiming to be the Android operating system for real-world humanoid robots. So by focusing on open source artificial intelligence, the company wants to spark a $38 billion, let me say that again in case you were sleeping, $38 billion market, and change how robots help humans by 2030. So this is like Facebook's new kind of thing. But, you know, we already don't trust Facebook on things. Then they want to do things like add the Facebook system now that'll use AI. And the AI is going to serve up ads to you based on, well, what the system hears you saying. So did you know that the data that you say, if you don't have it blocked, actually can cause a big problem? And they could actually use that data and they could sell it to third parties. They claim that they have rights to do this. But do they really have rights to do this? I don't know, guys. I don't know. But I know that it is a very, very big problem. And I know that it's something that we have to be at least vigilant about. I think that's probably the most important thing. And so uncovers now paid bribes are something interesting by the crypto scammers to reinstate banned accounts. Where is this? X, yes, formerly called Twitter, just exposed a major insider bribery ring where crypto scammers tried to quietly, nonchalantly unban their scam accounts. Teaming up with the FBI, X is ramping up defenses against internal corruption and drawing a new line in the sand for the platform security across the entire industry. So here you are having a blue check mark, and now you have people behind there basically just letting you do whatever you want. So much for that blue check mark, right? So I think a lot of us out there get concerned with what's happening at the moment. And I think that's an important thing to understand, because if we can understand our moment, then we can understand the next moment. But if whatever happens in our life changes, then I feel that can be a very, very big problem. And the reason I say it's a big problem is because it's not the impact that it has today, guys. It's the impact that it has tomorrow. I think that's probably one of the most important things that I want to share with you. One of the most important things that I definitely want to share with you. All right, guys. So we've talked about a lot of things in security. I want to dive back and let you know that Apple supposedly has released this new OS, the new 26. So this is a question I've been asking. So what is new in the 26.0 update? So they claim they mostly did some bug fixes. That's what they claim. I did install it. It's available for the iPhone 11 and later, and the iPad Pro 12.9 and third generation and later, the iPad Pro 11 inch first generation and later, and the iPad Air third generation and later, and the iPad 8 generation and later, and iPad Mini fifth generation and later. So the one thing was the font parser. They're able, the impact was processing a maliciously crafted font. It could lead to unexpected app termination or corrupt process memory. An out-of-bounds write issue was addressed with improved bounds checking. Okay, so great, they did that, but they still haven't fixed the one major bug that I have really been unhappy with. When I got my phone, let's say set up and I was, transferring my data, it still brought in all my email, which it should not have done that. And not only that, I could not just click select all and delete. I literally had to hold the message and then swipe to get everything selected. And my phone got pretty warm when I did that. I have to be honest with you. So not happy with that. Also, a little bit of update on the Lenovo. Yes, the Lenovo P1 G6. I had the P1 G7. And just the other day, I took out the second M.2 memory chip. And guess what? I basically set it back to the factory standards, reinitialized it. So it was just like a fresh install. And I sent it back. And so the new P16 G3s have just announced they're shipping in a few weeks. And I think now that we understand this, I want to just tell you that a lot of these people, I don't care whether it's Lenovo or other companies, I trusted this guy in the Lenovo team because he's, this is much better than P16. And I was a little leery about it, but he's like, no, this is definitely better. So I got the P1 G7, and I was not happy with the P1 G7, to be quite honest. Didn't have the extended numeric keypad. It did have Wi-Fi 7, but who cares? It crashed. I told you my streams just literally crashed out of the blue. And when I called Lenovo, they basically said, well, that's kind of beyond their scope. We don't support third-party applications. Like, really, Lenovo? Like, really? I know that if IBM still owned Lenovo, like before Lenovo, got the rights to basically be the engineering and the sales company, I think IBM would have handled it differently. I had over 1,900 latencies in less than a minute. I mean, that's like atrocious, guys. So the P1 G6, the Lenovo P1 G7 has severe latency issues. And you might be saying to me, John, well, it's not that bad. Not that bad. Multiple reports. Caused by combinations of hardware drivers, firmware, and BIOS settings. The LPCAM2 memory, a common thread among reports, points to the new LPCAM2 memory modules as the potential source. Users have cited memory latency scores in benchmarking software that were, as I said, abnormally high. The hybrid graphics mode setting in the BIOS, which automatically switches between integrated and discrete GPU, can cause lag and choppiness. Outdated drivers, faulty NVIDIA drivers, and trackpad and firmware. So latency is something you don't want anywhere, but I think the fact that Lenovo rolled this out, I was just so disappointed that a company like that rolled a product out. I am hoping my P16, this is going to be my third P16. I had the P1, I had the 1, this is the 2. And this is supposedly Lenovo's most powerful workstation laptop. So going to be ordering that soon, and I'll definitely let you know my thoughts. And I am posting some reels and some longer videos about that. I also am posting some videos about how to basically migrate your one iPhone to your other iPhone. I also talked about, how do you activate it? How do you erase the phone once you know everything is working properly? So I think these are important things. And unfortunately, a lot of companies, they're just about the money. They're not about the actual service. And unfortunately, they don't stand behind things. And when people don't stand behind things, you know what happens? Oh, it becomes a big issue. And the big issue happens because to the company, it's all about the money. Now, I should tell you this. I actually emailed a whole string of people at Lenovo because I was not happy with the answer I got from their tech support team. So a lady called me back, very snotty. And the only thing she told me she was going to do for me was to give me another laptop, the same one. I'm like, that's not going to help me. So I wrote her an email back. She says, okay, I'm willing to, and I sent it to the admin team, I am willing to, give you your money back. You sent it to us, and I'm willing to give you, I think it was like 10% for my inconvenience. 10%? Lady, $200, like, that's not even, I make more than that in a few minutes. So, you can't insult me with that. But I was very, very disappointed with the way they treated me. And ladies and gentlemen, I want to invite you right now to check out all the episodes at BelieveMeAchieve.com. You will be very, very happy with those episodes. Again, I am John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. You have been watching the JMOR Tech Talk Show. I invite you to discover even more exclusive insights at the site I gave you, BelieveMeAchieve.com. Security is everybody's business. Even if you don't care about it, you better, because it could affect your life, your safety, and even your identity. Again, ladies and gentlemen, have yourself a fantastic rest of your night. Have a wonderful weekend. And guess what, guys? I'm going to see you back again next week. That'll be October 10th. Until then, use your technology in a way that will be safe and for the greater good of all concerned. Remember, technology is a tool. It's not good or bad. How we choose to use it makes it so. Have a wonderful rest of your evening, everyone. Be well.